What's going on, everybody?
We're back.
This is Justin, Patrick, and Dylan from the band Process of Fusion, and you are now listening to the Band vs. Artist podcast.
That's right. We changed the name.
Yeah, we had to change the name because our name was taken. We decided to do the research on our name after we recorded the episode.
I won't lie. I wasn't the biggest fan of it.
Yeah, so the new name is Band vs. Artist. We're a band, and we verse the artist in conversation. Until we figure out a cooler way to actually verse whoever we're speaking to in some sort of duel or game.
Family Feud, perhaps.
Family Feud.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Trivia.
Survey says?
Trivia, anything. We'll get there. But right now, we're versing them in conversation. So Band vs. Artist is the name. Today, we had Matt Baird.
Whoa. I mean, we have. Totally, we're not recording this after the fact.
Oh, well.
Totally.
It's okay. We're keeping this in. Today, we have Matt Baird from the rock band Spoken. And they have a new album called Breathe Again that came out in December. And Matt's a really cool dude that I've had the privilege to interview twice before. And he offers a lot of insight into the music industry every time I speak to him. Other than that, how you guys feeling about this whole podcasting thing?
It's interesting.
That it is. That's good.
That is all.
I think it's a lot of fun already, and I think it will continue to be a lot of fun. I mean, usually we have conversations that we're like, maybe we should record this because it's ridiculous. It usually has to do with gelatinous meats.
The second episode in a row where gelatinous meats is thrown in the intro.
But in all seriousness, it's cool. It's a cool opportunity to talk to you guys about music, media, all that jazz, perhaps jazz even, and talk to artists, talk to people who are perfecting their craft just as we are. So
I think it's also important that you said it too. That it's not just artists in the sense of musicians. It's artists like filmmakers,
people who create.
Anybody that creates. We're kind of putting them under artists, and they should be considered that way. So that's why that's another reason for the name Band vs. Artist. Doesn't matter who we're interviewing. We hope that anyone finds what their craft is interesting enough. So.
All right, so Spoken fans, get ready. We're speaking to Matt, and Matt's got some great things to say. Stay tuned after this break. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Okay, so save it to Microsoft Word. No, gosh darn, my computer won't work.
Well, take it to Computer Sam NYC. This guy can fix anything. He'll fix a broken laptop, a broken computer, a broken cell phone, broken tablet. This guy even fixes beepers. Who knows they make beepers anymore? I didn't. Just listen to all these satisfied customers.
My computer was broken, and all of a sudden, whoa, it's great again.
Mommy said the computer was broken, and then we called, what's his name? Sam, yeah, we called Sam, and now it's great again.
Hi, this is Nicolas Cage. I wanted to tell everybody how great Computer Sam really is. My computer wasn't working, and now it is, so that's great.
So remember, check computersam.nyc for your computer needs. See ya!
Hey, this is Justin from the Band vs. Artist podcast, and I am here with my co-host Dylan and Patrick.
Hello.
What's up?
And today we have a special guest. We have Matt Baird from the band Spoken. What's up, Matt?
Not a whole lot. Looking out at a snow-covered parking lot in Des Moines, Iowa.
All right, it's snowing over there.
Yeah.
It's about to hit us apparently pretty hard on Saturday.
Yeah, we have an alleged blizzard coming to New York City.
That sounds awesome.
No.
Do you have a lot of area to shovel out by you? Do you even have to shovel?
I do. I unfortunately do. We live on a corner, so I have.
Oh, I know that feeling.
down the front of my house and the side of the house, and
Ooh.
yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Luckily, there was only the snow we got was only about 2 inches. It's been really cold, which I know you guys know what cold is, so you experience it as well.
Yeah, New York gets pretty bad. We've had a pretty good winter so far.
Yeah, for sure.
But so you are in the band Spoken, and you are a solo artist, and you've been doing this for around 20 years already.
Yep.
I know that Spoken just released an album called Breathe Again in December, and I think there was a couple of delays on that, right? For when it was supposed to come out.
I think all last year was a delay all across the board for anything that I was involved in. Last year was a delay, so yeah, we were planning on recording in May of last year for the Spoken record, and our studio time got bumped by a month, so we actually went in April. So we recorded all of Breathe Again in April, with the plan of kind of having it out by August. But during that time frame, we started talking to Artery about putting out the record, and new management, new booking, new radio. So everything across the board was new. So anytime you add a new person or a new company in the mix, things change, and there's more people to get things cleared with. Does this work with your schedule? Does this work with the releases you have coming out? And then there's only X amount of release dates that are available to market. So that was another thing that kind of pushed things around. But in the end, it ended up being December. So that worked out pretty good.
Yeah, and so how's this new record actually going? I know 2013 you guys released Illusion, and you've had I think since the last time you've had some members change, right? Are things kind of
everyone changed. Yeah. So it's only been me as far as an original member. Our last actual original member left over 5 years ago. Jeff and I, we started the band, and we grew up together, but he left about 5.5 years ago. So, the Illusion record, the only person that was actually on the self-titled before Illusion was the drummer, Oliver. He came in right when we were recording the self-titled, and then it was a different bass player and guitar player on Illusion, and then it was a completely different lineup. Scoop and Isaiah came on board, right when we started the writing process for Breathe Again. So.
Okay, and I see that you are on Facebook. You're very active in trying to book your tours, and I know you do things very DIY. Is there a reason for this, or do you kind of like the culture around doing it yourself, or is this just kind of the nature of the beast for where you guys are at?
I think for any band, if they're always trying to gain, new fans, they're always trying to build their career, I think it's important to be involved in some way when it comes to, not always having a middleman, but at the same time, to be honest, there are times when people just don't get the job done, when it comes to booking, because it's hard. It is really, really hard. You guys are in a band. You understand how hard it is to find shows. You can book door splits all day long every night of the week if you want, but that doesn't pay the bills, and whoever you owe money to when it comes to paying electricity or car payment or, mortgage, they don't care where you get the money. They just want you to get it. And so, we've been on lots of agencies over the years, and it's just one of those things where someday we hope to find the one who gets us so many shows that we're like, oh, no, we can't do that show. Sorry. No, we got to turn down that money. No, I'm sorry. We're too busy, but with the way the market changes and, music venues come and go, promoters come and go, the same as bands, they come and go. And I think it's in a good way and a bad way, how hard it is to find shows weeds out bands do. The ones who are not willing to give it absolute every ounce of them, because it's all or nothing, unfortunately. And that's just, it's the way it's always been, and it always will be.
Hey, this is Patrick, Matt. So you mentioned like kind of having to go with the way the market changes. Now, do you think that a lot of the market for shows and for music in general has changed because of social media and the internet and how people access music? Like, I know you've been doing this for a while, right? So for you, a lot of people are on kind of polar opposite sides of the fence as far as should people get your music for free or should they have to pay for all their music? Do you find that transition now kind of makes you guys rely more on playing shows?
Well, I think that, unfortunately, and I guess fortunately and unfortunately, we were never a band that depended on album sales to pay bills.
Mm-hmm.
So, all the time that we would get paid anything for records is in the gas tank. That's just the way it goes. It's hard to route shows to where you only drive 2 hours a day. And, you can go for 3 shows on 1 tank of gas. That's not realistic. It doesn't matter who you are. That doesn't happen. And so I'm kind of the wrong person to talk to when it comes about how people get music. I mean, I on purpose remained ignorant to all the download sites for free since that started happening because, one, I would have every record I ever dreamed of having, somehow, some way, and I would have got it all for free. And then I couldn't stand up and fight for, the people who are, purist on, hey, buy records, buy music, buy whatever. Obviously, people buying our records somehow, some way helps with, being able to have more money to market those or whatever. But we've never been a band that has depended on record sales. A band like Linkin Park, yes, they can put out a record and live on it for 3 years, no problem whatsoever. That's because they sell records and people want that immediately because it's such a bigger fan base. But, a nobody band who's on their first tour ever, man, honestly, they just got to kind of be giving away CDs in order for people to even care about who they are when they come back.
Yeah,
I'll agree to that as well.
we agree.
I just told Justin that I must have given out at least over 150 of our CDs for free, like our first batch, and he kind of shot me a look. Yep. He shot me a look. I'm like, well,
I was like, hey, we paid for those.
It's marketing. I mean, You look at it, it's like no matter what, when a band presses a record, and if they sign to a label, whatever, there's still got to be hundreds of CDs sent out to radio stations just to get it to where people even care that band exists. That's not even counting the work ethic that it takes to be a band. A band, here's an example I use a lot because I saw it firsthand, not only with the band I'm in, but in the band August Burns Red, right? I'll talk to kids at shows like, yeah, man, we just started a band last week. We want to be the next August Burns Red. I'm like, let me tell you about August Burns Red's work ethic, and you go into that, and it's not only about them as individual players and being amazing at each of their own instrument, but it's about getting together as a band and rehearsing, and each of those people show up prepared, guaranteed. They're going to know what they're doing, when it comes to writing a record. They're all going to know what they're doing. When it comes to performing, they do not mess up. It's because of work ethic, straight up. And so when you have these young bands, you're like, this is who we plan to be. I'm like, you just better get ready to have 0 friends and just work. That's what it takes.
I think that's our problem, guys. We decide to hang out and have too many friends. That's why. Yeah, that's why no one's buying our CDs. Problem.
No, I admire what you just said. I've personally been feeling the same way. There used to be a day in at least the Staten Island local scene where I'm sure there was a bunch of bands that we just never heard of, but there'd always be like these bands that would kind of come out and always play shows, and they were great and whatever. And then they kind of I got older and stopped doing it, and then a bunch of younger bands would come in, and you'd see more and more pop up every day, and then they're gone the next day because they didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve so soon. And you're right. It's about putting forward the work that needs to be there. Not it's not something that happens overnight or.
It's true, and you have bands who have expectations. They think, oh, we're starting a band that sounds like Under Oath, and Under Oath is huge, and within 6 months we'll be doing this, and then within a year we'll be on a bus, and then it's like, whatever. What planet are you on?
I always say that we're the crazy ones because, as Dylan was just saying, all these bands popping up, going away. whatever. We've been doing our band. We were just talking about it since pretty much 2008, and from all the people that we came up with, we're really the only ones left. And I don't know if it's because we're really good or we're just really dumb and we
don't know when
just,
to- we don't
we
know
just
when to
haven't-
stop.
we didn't know when to give it up, and we're just keep.
But
keep
we
going.
just have fun with it. I think
Yeah.
that's the core of it.
I debate that daily. I'm like, okay, it's one of those things where people are like, how long you gonna keep spoken going? And I've always said, well, until God pulls the plug. Well, really, how long are you gonna tour? Like, until literally God takes my voice from me and I can't sing anymore, or until I know without a doubt that God wants me to be done. I'm like, I don't want to be some 80-year-old dude if I live that long, laying in bed at night being like, wonder where we would have played, wonder what city we would have been in, wonder what, I don't ever want to be that. And therefore, whenever God is done, cool. And, I've always wondered, like, am I just, too dedicated to it or just too stupid to know that God's been the whole time? He's like, are you serious? You had every reason to quit from day one. What is wrong with you? You're stubborn,
It's like you were supposed to stop 5 years ago.
No, yeah, in my mind, you'd probably say about 19 years ago when I first started touring.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about crowdfunding. I know your last record was done on crowdfunding. How important is this new crowdfunding platform for the modern artist?
I think it's something where you have a product that, one, either people have been asking about for a long time, like, here, you ever going to do this? You ever going to record this record? Whatever. This is for a new artist. I think that it's a good way. One, people are going to look at a Kickstarter just to see, or they're just going to look at the video, or they're just going to see what kind of, perk packages or merch bundles come with it. That doesn't mean they actually have to end up buying it, but, like, I think it's something that's like, even if someone doesn't back your campaign, it's a great way to market it. People are going to look at least, and so that's one thing. But another thing is, like, I think with us, like, going into this record, we were going to do it independent. We straight up had all the plans to be like, hey, let's just get a record recorded, let's get it out, because we didn't want it to be 5 years like it was between our self-titled and Illusion. That's just not what we wanted to do
Right.
again. So I think it's really important. Obviously, when there's setbacks in a recording and marketing and a release date, it tends to agitate, the people who paid money. That's one of the things that we've really ran into with this, is that people are like, hey, man, I still haven't gotten my stuff, or, hey, when are you going to ship them out, or, hey, what's going on? Because there's so many things that you don't control when it comes to release dates and getting records out. And so for a person who's not in a band, they don't understand that. But yet, a person in a band, no one wants a record out more than the people who recorded it and paid for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
nobody the people who wrote the songs and recorded it and, want to get it out it's just great for a band to have a new record out. That's who wants it out more than anybody. It's just when the fans who backed it, they don't understand the whole process, they tend to get a little agitated.
Now, I always notice on your Facebook that you're asking your followers if they need help or they need advice from someone who's in music and doing music. I feel like, I know I've seen you do this a couple of times. Is that something that you feel like is a mission, or you have some sort of conviction to try to, give help to people and give people access to your knowledge of, doing this for so long?
I just think it's something where, a lot of us, we learn lessons trial and error. Anybody in a band, you've learned plenty of lessons. If you've been in a band a year, you've learned plenty of ways to do things differently the next time. It's one of those things. And I've always got people asking me, man, I want to go on the road as a merch person. How do I do it? Man, I need help booking shows. Who do I contact? And people are like, I need to get T-shirts printed. Right now I'm paying $9 a shirt. I'm like, you're insane. Here's the person you need to contact, and it gets it down to a lot better price. But a lot of people, they're ignorant to it, therefore they don't know any better. They just haven't been taught. And so, there are times I'll land with those that just because I know that there'll be people who have questions, and I'm not unapproachable. I'm not some untouchable guy. I'm a dude that's been doing this for a long time, and I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way. So if it's something I can help protect some artists, or bands to keep them from making some of the same mistakes, man, why not? I don't want to be some artist development guy that invests hours upon hours every day for no money, but I if I can help someone, I want to help them.
Cool. No, that's awesome. Because I always feel like even when I've been texting you the last couple of days, I was like, I hope he's not gonna just get sick of me and be like, all right, dude, stop texting me. And I started feeling bad.
Things are crazy often, and you just always trying to book shows, which in the end, it's something that's like, if there are holes in a route, I want to play shows. That's it. I don't want a day off. If I'm going to be away from my wife and my kids, I want to be feeling useful, and so that's just how it is. Even if it's me playing at some coffee shop acoustic with an hour notice and I make $20 in tips and a free cup of coffee, that's better than me doing nothing, and I firmly believe that. And so it is something to where also I ask random questions sometimes on my Facebook, but also it's like if people want us to come play their town, but yet they've never booked a show, I want to walk them through that as well. There's been a lot of times where I've posted about certain cities, and I'll have people get back to me and they're like, hey, man, I'd love to get into promoting shows, but no agencies will return my call. I'm like, well, shoot, let's be your guinea pig. Let's see how you do. And, luckily, sometimes it turns into something great when they're able to do a lot more shows with a lot bigger bands, and so that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I wish more people had that kind of attitude about that.
Yeah.
I feel like so many people
me too.
I feel
we'd have a lot more places to play.
Yeah, I feel like too many people have a similar mindset, but they're not as open about giving it out, or at least for free. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of almost lucrative at that point, but. Yeah, no, I think that's really awesome. I was, just again thinking about what we have around here. Very rare would someone be willing to work with us that much. You know what I mean, and kind of impart that much knowledge on somebody. Most people would just kind of be like, "Oh, you're not experienced enough," and they'll just move on. So.
Yeah, well, I just see it. What am I going to do with all this knowledge someday?
Right. No, and that's how
I'm
people.
not going to be in a band, and so I just see it. People are like, I've had people for 10 years say, "Gee, you need to write a book." I'm like, you couldn't fit all this junk in a book, It's not possible. But maybe someday. I don't know. It's hard enough to get it scheduled to do an interview without something getting in the way, let alone sit down and write a book.
Yeah, so I think in addition to advice and other things that you can help them, just kind of guiding artists along the way, I think another thing a lot of artists need is encouragement. I mean, it's like you've been doing it for a while. We haven't been doing it for quite as long, but still, I mean, there are those shows where you expect a big turnout and not as many people show up as you'd like. And I think for a lot of people just starting out, tying into one of our last questions here, Matt, just a lot of people starting out, music isn't necessarily their job. You know what I mean? Like you end up working an odd job or something to go along with your art form while you're trying to get by. So we like to ask a lot of our guests, what were some of those odd jobs that you did as you were kind of first getting your start in music? And even if it's not, it could even be current too, just something else to kind of supplement, like, again, touring as much as possible. I mean, for instance, a lot of us in our band, both myself and one of our guitar players, we're both high school teachers, and we play when we can, and we kind of make our schedules around that. So just curious to know what.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I first started, I was doing landscaping and stonemasonry with my uncle, my dad, and my brother. I was 18. I was fresh out of high school. I had no clue what I was doing with my life. And, so I worked a full-time job, and I made good money. I got to spend time with my family. It was really hard work, and it was a good craft to learn. And I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, So, I started taking some, community college classes, and I was failing everything I was taking as far as the classes I needed to pass. The ones that I didn't care about. I was passing. I'm like, what is going on here? You know. Anyway, it was just one of the things where I'm like, for a long time, my prayer was, you know, God, what am I supposed to do with my life? What am I supposed to do with my life? And then one day it just hit me. It's like, what can I do for you with my whole life? And that's when Spoken started. And so that was that. I worked some odd jobs over, you know, the years, you know, just, you know, doing trim carpentry, or I worked at it was at a ball field, a softball field. I ran a concession stand. That was way back, and I hated it. But, you know, luckily I've been able to just do music for the most part for a while now. And that's not only with Spoken, but that's with, you know, acoustic shows and guest worship and whatever, which I love. I love both. People are like, you ever going to choose one or the other? I'm like, no, Spoken's my priority. But my family's a bigger priority than that. So all these acoustic shows, one, it's a great way to tell stories. Another, it's just a great outlet. Another, I feel like God brought songs that fit better as acoustic. At the same time, I can provide my family with it. It's not easy. It's the same way as like trying to book an acoustic show is sometimes just as hard to book a full band show. It's got to fit with routing. It's got to work financially. It can't just be like, oh, I'll come sit down at your house and play for free. Sweet, you know. But it has to be a little more strategic when it's, you know, me and a guitar. It has to be better planned out sometimes.
Yeah, and I know you have to go. So I guess that was a good final thought. And I know you're Spoken's always touring in the Midwest and out in central I was gonna say Central America in the middle of the U.S. And I know I texted you saying you got to get you to New York, but for real, man, we got to get you to New York.
That'd be great. I would love to be out that way. We don't get to play there much. You know, my wife and I, any acoustic tour that I do, we head out and we go visit Hillsong, New York, and so we get to drive through the insane areas down there. But, you know, I've been trying to get out to Syracuse, you know, kind of anywhere in the area, Buffalo, whatever. But we were at Darien Lake for Kingdom Bound last year, but that's kind of been it.
Yeah, well, if you guys are ready to hit up the East Coast, we could help you out in New York City, and then we could actually like meet, make it official. Maybe we'll play a show together. It'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely, we could put together a few shows if you wanted to do that, so we can make that happen.
Let's do that. But thank you so much for giving your time, as crazy as it was for you to squeeze it in the middle of whatever you're doing.
All good. We need to do it again.
Yes, for sure. We really appreciate you coming on, and thanks for sharing some of your music insight with us. And
well, let's plan on doing it in a couple months, and I'll see what other terrible or amazing lessons I learned.
As I say, we probably will have a lot more questions too by then. So for sure, we'd definitely love to have you on again.
Yep, because we're in the middle of recording a full length ourselves, so those questions will arise.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you again for being here. Well, not here, but your presence.
being here through our headphones.
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Matt.
See ya. Bye.
So that was Matt from Spoken, dropping some knowledge on the Band vs. Artist podcast. Thank you again, Matt. Now, Patrick and Dylan and I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we do as the band part of Band vs. Artist. You heard from the artist, so now you get to hear from the band. And that band is Process.
We saved the best for
Fusion.
last.
Yeah, maybe most of you will click off now because Matt's done talking. But for those of you who don't, let's tell you something about us. And then I will direct that to Patrick.
About us or about what we're working on now?
Let's tell them about what we're working on, which we alluded to a little bit with Matt.
Okay, so we're working on our first full-length album.
We've exclusively dealt with EPs.
Yes, as a lot of bands do, first getting their start, record EPs. We recorded one EP in 2009, 2010.
No.
Yes.
Wrong.
It came out in 2010.
Yeah, we started in December.
Wow,
right?
it was so
Get
long.
schooled.
It was so long ago.
I know.
Yeah, 2010. Sorry.
That's right. And then just don't do it again. And then the other one we released in 2011. And since then, it's been a long drought for us, but that's because
It's a dry spell.
Dry spell, you could call it that. It's because we've been working on a full length. This album is a full length concept album, which for those of you who are non-prog fans, which a lot of prog bands do, it's concept albums. One story, every track is kind of like a different chapter in that story, but the music is all connected, right? For a band who doesn't do a concept album, which not necessarily you have to do, or it's just what we're doing here. One song tells its own story ends, and then the next song. But for us, again, it's all the same story, different chapters. Now, musically, definitely covers a lot of different genres throughout the album. I can't even go through all the different genres at the moment. Some kind of like post-hardcore to
The metal.
yeah, some
Got
metal.
some bluesy stuff in there.
Some blues stuff.
Some
There's
hip-hop.
yeah, they're almost kind of. I'm trying to figure out what like friction would fall under.
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange.
Circus hop.
Potentially
And
circus
yeah,
hop.
and one of the
That's
things that we kind of wanted to do going forward, when we decided this is what we wanted to do, was to be able to find, to not just work with like a normal conventional like rock instruments. You know what I mean? We have ideas for strings and horns and alternative instruments to kind of have their place on the record, which is fun for us because it allows us to be able to work with new people and as well as new timbral elements in the music, but also it kind of gives us a bit of a challenge, like how certain things would be. Well, another instrument plays this. Like, how could we translate that live or whatever? So it kind of gives the songs that we've been working on extra life. I think, me personally, you do develop some kind of, and I'm sure a bunch of other musicians feel this way. You fatigue for songs that you play, and it's like the same thing. So you're like, oh, I'll change it up here, whatever. But I don't know. These songs are just they're fun. I feel like if you want to listen to them individually, they can speak for themselves, but they also work well in order. And I think it's been fun for me as well to watch Patrick kind of structure it, and hear Patrick and Justin talk about lyrics and what things mean, and it allows me to kind of analyze by myself and then be told that I was wrong later.
And most importantly, the name of the album is called The Parallel and Perpendicular.
Which has some meaning of
It
its
does
own.
have some meaning. We won't reveal that now. We will go more
We
in
won't?
depth on that. Well, do you want to?
We could a little bit.
All right, give us a little bit of what parallel and perpendicular means.
So, believe it or not, it's not just a geometry lesson through music.
Although you can learn something.
Though you can learn something. The parallel kind of comes into effect by when you look at train tracks or going straight, they make parallel lines. Obviously, not always. They turn, so they're not always parallel. But our concept takes place on a train. It's a character who is in a pretty dark time in their life, thinking about potentially ending their life. And every day they commute to work on a train, not unlike many people who live in New York City or in many other urban areas. And it's kind of like he sees this opportunity where he could kind of just end it all and be rid of his commute that he takes every day, his job that he takes every day, his relationship that's not working out, everything that could possibly be going wrong that is going wrong. He sees ending his life as a solution. So the parallel is the train, but it's also as he takes this, what's kind of his last train ride, every stop on the train is a track in our song. And in these tracks, he's experiencing some pretty interesting phenomenon that he wouldn't have expected experiencing along the train ride to his the commute to work. And you could argue that similar to, it's not the most original idea, admittedly, but it's kind of parallel universes in which the things that he's seeing are things that could have happened, that did happen in another version, had he made different choices. So that's where the parallel, and then where these alternate universes intersect is where it's the perpendicular. So it's the parallel, it's the train, it's the parallel universes, things running opposite to where he's going, and then there's the perpendiculars where those lives intersect. So in every track, it's kind of either showing how these paths diverge or how they converge. And I think we're looking at about a 13-track album, and some, like I said, some you see them running side by side, and some you see them meet, sometimes violently. So it's pretty interesting.
It's basically a sci-fi soap opera.
Yeah, I like to call it. It's like a Christmas Carol, but not around Christmas time.
And no Scrooge here.
No,
Bah humbug.
No Scrooge.
but I mean, it's been a fun batch of songs to work on. I mean, of course, every time someone artists record, I guess you have to feel like what you're working on is the best thing at the moment. And I mean, I can at least say for everybody in this room, this is what we feel like is some of the best stuff that we've been ever worked on. It's probably the most closely we also have ever worked together as a 5-piece band, and that's that might seem like, well, why wouldn't you guys? But it gets difficult to try to figure things out with 5 people who at points want to do similar things, but then want to kind of take it a different direction. But it's writing has been fun, and we just started recording it, and it's just as fun. It's breathing life into songs that I think about that we might have played a whole bunch of times, but now to be able to record it and look at it in a light of like, how can this be layered, and like, given the tools that we have available to us, make it kind of seem fresh to us to record and keep playing. But yeah, it's been fun.
For sure. And we have a single that's almost ready. The song To the Wolves is the first song that we've recorded. We offered a little snippet of it a couple of weeks ago. And we're heading back to the studio this weekend.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting. And shout out to our engineer, Nick, at Zin Records. The place is awesome. The dude is awesome.
His work ethic is awesome.
Fun
Shows is awesome.
Fun Shows.
The Fun Shows is the taco burrito place.
Can I talk a little bit about what To the Wolves is about, or should we save that for a rainy
We'll
day?
save that.
Okay.
For when the song is ready. Yeah, there's the teaser.
What's that one about, guys? It's pretty cool.
You have to wait.
So hopefully that song will be out in the next couple of weeks.
Doubt it.
And I guess that's it, guys.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing myself talk.
This is the Band vs. Artist podcast with 3 of the members of Process of Fusion. And to listen to this podcast, you can go to processoffusion.bandcamp.com to download the whole thing if you want to hear it on your commute to work or audio or wherever. Or you can listen to the whole thing when it's uploaded to Facebook, or what we prefer, our YouTube channel, where you could subscribe and see all the other cool things that we're doing, including drum lesson videos and different things like that. And our Facebook page, just so you know, is facebook.com/processoffusion. And if you are a Twitter person, you could find us at POF_band. And that's all I got, guys. How about you? Any closing words?
I think that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Bear with us. Every episode we'll get more and more loose, and we'll make this hopefully more enjoyable.
Yeah, we're noobs.
Yeah, we're noobs. We don't really know what we're doing. We're not even that funny. So
Not yet. I guess
we're gonna get funnier.
we promise. No, if you think if anyone listening, if you can think of people that you would like to hear a little bit more about them, a local artist or someone a little bit more famous, chances are good, believe it or not, we can get in touch with them. Justin works in mysterious ways, so if there's someone you want to know a little bit about their about their life beyond what they produce, and we can get in contact with them, we might be able to have them on the show. So send recommendations, suggestions our way. We'd be happy to host people.
Yeah. Well, it'd be awesome to see that, because that would also mean that everyone's listening and enjoys it enough that they'd want to hear these people on it. So yeah, thank you.
Yep.
That's it, guys. Enjoy your time until the next episode. And survive this blizzard.
Best outro ever.
Best outro ever. Peace out.
True. I have a gummy bear fetish.
Well, moving on. Perfect segue.
Perfect segue into something else.